But I watched Matt Patricia, another Belichick guy, and it just didn't work on Monday. The Lions, there's multiple reports since he took the job. Players don't like him. Players don't relate to him. He's too gruff. He works too hard. You watch him on the sidelines, hat on backwards, pencil. He's a mess. Nobody's communicating. Stories out today. He's over his head. Nobody likes him. Another Bill Belichick guy is not working. And it is remarkable how many Bill Belichick. Josh McDaniel failed. Charlie Weiss didn't work. Bill O'Brien, good luck. Jim Schwartz fired. Eric Mangini. Romeo Crennel. By the way, all different cats. All different dudes. Some are more quiet, Romeo Crennel. Some are more empathetic, Eric Mangini. Some are gruff, Nick Saban, Charlie Weiss. All different kind of coaches. None have failed. And we know that Belichick is the best coach in the NFL. In my opinion, he's as good a coach as we've ever had. And that includes the Lombardis, the Jimmy Johnsons, the Parcells, the Bill Walsh. He's as good as they have. And another assistant's not working. But here's what's interesting. Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren, Denny Green. We don't consider them as good a head coach. But why are their coaching trees much more successful? Andy Reid and Mike Holmgren. Todd Bowles, Doug Peterson, Pat Shurmur, Ron Rivera, John Harbaugh, Super Bowl. It's amazing. Guys are winning. Got Super Bowls. Mike Holmgren, similarly. Very successful coaching tree. Denny Green, Tony Dungy, Mike Tomlin, Jim Caldwell got to a Super Bowl. Brian Billick won a Super Bowl. What's happening here? And I have a belief about this. That Belichick is as close to a football genius as we've ever had. There's a lot of smart people in Silicon Valley. Steve Jobs was a genius. There's a lot of smart people in science. Elon Musk is probably a tortured genius. Geniuses are not good mentors. They're not as caring. They're not as patient. They don't put their arm around you. They're not taking you out for dinners. Geniuses do not make good mentors. When you're around a genius, and I think I've only worked around one person that I thought was sort of at a different level upstairs, you just siphon everything you can from them. I had a friend who worked for Bill Gates. It's like, Bill's not patient enough to make you great. What you do is study Bill Gates, figure out as much as you can about Bill Gates, hopefully don't tick off Bill Gates, but he's not going to put his arm around you and hug you. He's changing the world. Bill Belichick is not a great mentor. And proximity to genius doesn't make you a genius. Even inside a family with the same DNA, you can have the smart daughter and the dumb son. So even DNA in the same house, same school, same parents, same blood, same everything, proximity to genius doesn't make you a genius. But if you look at Bill Belichick's coaching tree, there are disasters in the NFL everywhere. And you just have to realize that. Is that some people, I think Andy Reid's a really good coach. Mike Holmgren's a really good coach. Denny Green's a really good coach. But I never thought of them as football savants. But I do think of them, and I've met all of them, and I like all of them. They're more caring. They'll put their arm around you. They'll share wisdom. They're more patient. Chris Carter was talking about Denny Green, who he played under in Minnesota, the kind of guy he was, and it doesn't really sound like Belichick. Listen.
Even in losing, there's some ugly parts to this business. Denny Green used to go back on the plane and check on every single guy. How you doing? Saw you had a rough one. All right, take it easy. He used to tell me when I tore both my calves, I'll see you next Sunday. On Sunday. And in that little personal touch, that comes with being a seasoned coach, which these coaches don't have. And it will be a problem because it ain't the X's and O's in the NFL. It's the Willies and the Joes. And you need football players to go out there and do that work. And that's something that he's going to have to learn.
But Denny Green, after games, goes down to every player on the plane. How you doing? How you feeling? How's the family? Don't get too down. That's not Belichick. Geniuses don't do that. Steve Jobs didn't do that. Elon Musk is not doing that. Andy Reid is. Mike Holmgren is. Sometimes, and I'll give you an example, Belichick wasn't Belichick until he found the perfect quarterback who is as driven as him, as focused as him, as aspirational as him, as tough on himself as him. Belichick didn't work. He didn't work in Cleveland, and he was 5'11 in Green Bay. Belichick is a lot like a comedic genius. And again, Elon Musk, Gates, Steve Jobs, Larry David. Larry David created Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's kind of considered a genius. Larry David was a failed stand-up comic, frustrated. And then he met his Tom Brady. His Tom Brady was Jerry Seinfeld, who was the perfect, driven, less chaotic, take a deep breath, cerebral comic that could pacify and understand the genius of Larry David. And then Larry is an all-timer. Belichick wasn't working in this league. He's not patient. He's not the greatest mentor. He was failing in this league. Larry David was just a smart comic and failing. Then Brady and Seinfeld come into it, and they find the perfect mate to handle their genius, just as driven, just as aspirational, and can take the edge off Bill and the edge off Larry David. So just because your boss and you're near him is smart, proximity to genius has never, even inside a house with the same parent, same DNA, has never equaled a genius. All right, I want to shift gears to my, I've been kind of in a relationship with Tom Brady for years, kind of kicking him to the curb for Sam Darnold. We're breaking up, Tom and I. Maybe have a year left. But I am flirting right now with Sam Darnold. That guy's amazing. And you know I love Sam Darnold. But people are going bonkers. I'm listening to radio yesterday. I literally heard a host say, listen, if he is a Hall of Fame quarterback, the Giants are going to be reeling for years. Folks, he beat Detroit. He beat Matt Patricia. I love. But here's the thing everybody's missing about the Sam Darnold story. When you say the Jets, you just think of dysfunction. The Jets aren't that dysfunctional. Let me give you dysfunctional. The Cleveland Browns, last 19 years, 2 winning seasons. The Jets have had 9 winning seasons. That's not dysfunctional. Detroit has no playoff win since 1991. The Jets have 7. Chicago's had 4 head coaches in 6 years. The Jets have had half that and just gave Todd Bowles an extension. And Buffalo is once again the worst team in the league. I can't remember a year in the last 2 decades I thought the Jets were the worst team in the league. I'm trying to find years the Bills weren't. Okay, Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, Buffalo. Those are utter dysfunction. Even against the Giants. You think of the Giants as great and the Jets as a mess. Let's go to the last decade. Giants have 4 playoff wins. Jets have 4 playoff wins. The Giants have won 5 more games in the last decade. In the last decade. And that's with the Jets being in a division with Tom Brady. So that's 0-2 most years. The Jets are actually built. They're built for a young quarterback to succeed. And I love Darnold. There's no bigger fan in the American media as Sam Darnold. The Jets are not as dysfunctional. First of all, and I've said this, Joey's been here, I've said this now twice in the last month. Todd Bowles is the best coach in the NFL with a losing record. Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator, is an excellent offensive coordinator. The Jets have had 1 owner in 19 years. Their defense, way above average. They have the single best backup/mentor quarterback in the NFL in Josh McCown, and it's not close. If Josh McCown retired at the end of the year, 32 NFL teams would hire him. The Jets are going to. They also have a ton of cap space. The Jets have $105 million of cap space at the end of the year. That's the most in the NFL. They can get him a left tackle, 2 running backs, and a slot receiver. And they also play in the weaker AFC. In fact, they play in the weakest AFC East. They get the Bills twice a year. They get the Dolphins twice a year. I love Sam Darnold. Nobody loves Sammy. I'm in Sam's club. I mean, I got the card, baby. I got the
Sammy now?
He's Sammy. He's my Sammy. I mean, honestly, he's my Sammy. But the Jets aren't that dysfunctional. Sam Darnold's got a much better situation going forward than the Baker Mayfield does or Josh Allen does. This is a real defense. In a week, I don't got the Steelers in my division and the Ravens. I got the Patriots.
You know, it is a weird thing about the Jets because when you think of the Jets, even with the Rex Ryan era, everyone forgets the AFC Championship games. They were right there. Like Mark Sanchez is known as being the butt bumper.
They went
he
to
was
back-to-back
the
AFC Championship.
the AFC Championship games.
We are labeling. You know, there's a lot of businesses out there that you label one thing. You know, I was talking this morning. We were talking about this. The adult film entertainment business. It's all run by Ivy League guys. You're like, oh, it's all run by guys that went to Dartmouth and Princeton and Harvard and Yale. You know what I mean? You look at the Jets and you're like, oh my God, their last 10 years they've lost 5 more games than the Giants. Been to the playoffs and won 4 times.
That's why branding's important.
The Jets, Sam Darnold's going to work, and I don't think he's Cam Newton as an arm talent. I don't think he's Andrew Luck as a talent. I don't think he has Patrick Mahomes' arm talent. But he's got a real defense, a ton of cap space, weaker division, great OC, the best mentor backup quarterback perhaps the league has ever had. And this team has $105 million of cap space. They're going to be able to spend $105 million on a tackle, a running. Le'Veon Bell may be a New York Jet. And I'm not joking on this. If the Jets go 4-0, don't be shocked if they make a play for Le'Veon Bell. I mean, if the Jets start winning games and look up and they're 3-1 and they're like, you know what, in our division, we may not be New England. We may be able to post some wins with our defense. So as much as I love Sammy, I'm a card-carrying member of Sam's Club. This is not Cleveland. Trubisky's got more to overcome in Chicago. This is not Deshaun Kaiser Baker in Cleveland. This is not Josh Allen in Buffalo. Those are messes. You got to overcome. There's not a ton to overcome in New York. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.